the Bonnie bell pepper, and if I pan up just ever so slightly, you're gonna see where I had to chop the tomato, because it actually like bent and snapped off, and it was kind of hanging down with all the flowers on it. So I'm actually trying to propagate it and see if that works. But this is my, I want to say it's the red beefsteak tomato. I'll find the plant tag. And a Bonnie green bell pepper. This has not given me any flowers, so the pepper has not done anything. We're going to see if it will, but as of right now, there's nothing new happening there. So I'm going to pan over here. There's a bee out here, so I'm trying not to disturb it. It's not a bee, it's like a black, it's bee-like. I'm really hoping it's not a wasp, but it's really annoying, and I really wish it would go away. So I'm going to shut the door because it looks like the wasps are trying to come back, and I really don't want to call pest control again. So yeah, so you see this, the Bonnie green sweet pepper. Oop, I'm just flinging stuff everywhere. So we have the plant tag, looks a little bit different. Let's back up. And then you have the red beefsteak. Whoop. There we go. It is an heirloom tomato, but I didn't mean to hit the camera there. But yeah, and if you're freaking out like, what is that white stuff in there? Let's see if I can get a better angle for you. So before you freak out, the white stuff in the plant is actually eggshell fertilizer. So I make my own from home. I put some eggshells in water. The water is actually a really good fertilizer, like eggshell water is really good fertilizer for veggies. But then you can also make powdered fertilizer, and it's great, like calcium powder. So that is what's in here, so don't freak out, look what's growing on you. No, it's fertilizer, it's okay. It's probably why my tomato got so big and snapped. Next we have some Yato. So my mom had this in her garden when she was cleaning up on the irises. If you've watched the video, which of course, like, go ahead and watch it if you haven't. But she was cleaning them out, and there was yarrow that was like in the way. She already had some in her yard, so she was like, well, I'll just toss this. So she was tossing it, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. Can I take that? Because it still had the roots on it. I have overwatered it, so it's not as fluffy as it once was. I took and did some maintaining and like plucked a lot of the dead stuff out. So I'm going to see if it'll come back to life for me. It looks like it has some new like sprouts coming out, so we're gonna see how this does. But yeah, so I have some yarrow, and then next to the yarrow are some collard greens. So these are my collard green babies that I grew from seed. They are humongous. Like, I don't know if you can see them leaves, but they're getting so big, they're too big for the spot. I need to move them. I've learned after growing collard seeds for the first time this year that, yeah, no, I need a whole big pot for them. And I'm going to show you why I say that. Because I have collards growing with mustard greens right now. I'm going to specifically show you why it's like that. So in this gorgeous light, we have not only collard greens on the left hand side here, like look at them. Hello, there's a little globe in there. Here on this side, that's like kind of overtaking, when I say overtaking everything, like the collards stand no chance. We also have mustard. Now I'm confused because these actually might be collards on this side, but there are definite mustard greens in here, and they're humongous, and they've like just taken over this area. They're just like living their best life, and I'm like, I'm so ready for a harvest, y'all, because I'm gonna eat good. I'm not gonna have to go to the store during the holidays. I can just pick from my own garden. That is what I want. That is the goal. So yeah, mustard greens, and I think if I'm able to tell a difference, it's because the mustard greens have this like reddish tint, and I might have to bring you in closer for this. So two things. Mustard greens have this like reddish vein in the middle of them. I think you can see that on camera. And then with the collard greens, if you notice, the very young leaves are rounded, which I did not know until I bought them. The mustard greens pretty much stay in this shape when they're younger, but the collard greens definitely stay like more rounded, and they're a bit bluer, if that makes sense, in their tint. So I don't know if you can tell the difference, but yeah. So they're growing, they're loving this spot. They both need their own pot. I see that now. I grew these from seed this year. I'm proud of myself, but also mistakes were made, and I'm gonna fix that. I will fix that. So next up, as I pan down to show you how tall it is. So you saw the calais down there. This is, in this big blue pot that I've had forever, is a Santa Fe hot pepper. When I tell you this thing has been giving me veggies since I pretty much got it, and maybe like a month after, has been giving me these hot peppers. Yeah, no, I can make tacos forever, and whatever else requires peppers, I'm obsessed with it. And I'll show you the peppers like close up, because it's supposed to come in like a variety, and I think it depends on how ripe and mature they are. So I think they start out with bright green, but it can also be like a deep reds and orange, and you know, Mom was just talking about like adding color to your garden. This is how I add color. Like if you notice, I have a lot of green out on my balcony. It's just how I like things, but I like to add different textures when it comes to green, so I'm much more of a texture person and like different leaves and things like that. But I also like things that like flower and bloom, and the pops of color for me are always going to be our friends the calais. Always. But yeah, I'm thoroughly obsessed with hot peppers right now. So I think you can see them, but yeah, these gorgeous like yellowish chartreuse like green peppers are so beautiful. You can see that I have another little one up top, but yeah, they're gorgeous. They are hot like their name, but I love having pepper plants. Like it's probably one of my favorite things to grow because they're so easy. Like if you want to start off with veggies and you like spiciness, or you just like, you know, peppers in general, I highly recommend like Santa Fe hot peppers, Bonnie bell peppers, any of the peppers. Tomatoes are super finicky, so I would not recommend starting off with that veggie. But I do also have a ton of herbs that I'm about to show you that you'd be surprised how hardy they are. So next up we have basil. I want to tell you that I have many types of basil, and if you do not believe me, because you're like, oh, I see that one plant in that tiny pot, how do I explain this to you? I have a lot, like a lot. I want to say this is sweet basil over here. I could be very wrong about that. I have not learned how to tell the basil from the leaves and the seed packet, because yes, this was grown from seed, as was, I'm gonna try to move these gently because there was an ant here and I'm trying not to disturb him. There is dill in here too. I think the dill is doing better because it has a little bit more shade, thanks to the basil, so that's good. But yes, there are 3 different types of basil in here. I want to say that I have all 3 growing, and the biggest one, I really don't know. I want to say it's like, it might be Dolce Vita, but that also might just be Chef's Trio again, so y'all can help me out. But yeah, so we have these basil leaves, like these type. I don't know if that's a good angle, hold on. So now we're looking all up in here. This is basil, so much basil. There's more basil. Again, I'm trying not to flick this like plant off, but there are so much basil, and I come out here all the time. Aha, I found the other basil. So I think this particular pot is overrun with like a very specific type of basil, and it seems to be the more dominant one. The other one I showed you has like, I think it's sweet basil because it has the very like, they're more umbrella leaves, like they just like kind of pop out a little bit more. This, I'm not sure what this one is. If anybody can tell me, that would be great. But there's another one that has like a purple tint to it that I'm going to show you. And if anybody can guess what that is, that'll be also awesome. So yeah, I don't know if you can see it through all this, but there are this basil with like some purple, there we go, some purple tint to it in the middle. But basil is super easy to take care of. Like I come out here, probably every time I come out here I water this area because I'm not sure how much water it needs. This is a big pot, but I water it. It tends to do just fine. It gets a lot of sun in this spot, so it's thriving, absolutely thriving. In case you thought I was kidding in my previous video when I was talking about I like propagate everything, these are green onions that I cut down already and like repotted after they got some decent roots, and I should probably cut them and use them for something. But yes, there's onion out here. There's also, I don't know if you can see it, I'm probably gonna have to move, but there is, yeah, hold on. And also if I pan up, these little yellow flowers are attached to bok choy I propagated. So that is bok choy in that pot. They're not super flourishing. I have to figure out how to make them thicker and be able to get veggies off of them, but I do love that I've realized bok choy has yellow flowers and that it will grow in North Carolina until 7B. Next up, this very tall beauty right here. Can you guess what it is? This is an avocado tree that I propagated from a seed from an old avocado that we bought out of the store. And look at it now. Look at it now. I just leave it in a spot and give it some water and that's it. Like, that. There's no secret. I can't show the process of how I propagate avocado seeds. There is a wasp trying to get in my home. Hold on one second. Next up, ignore the other guys back there. Avocado tree from an avocado seed. I don't know if you can tell from this angle, but there's like a little branch off right here that is from the same seed. I don't know why that's happening. I'm not arguing with it. It's just I'm like, I already have 2 other seeds propagating. How much more avocado trees do you want me to have, universe? But I also am the one propagating seeds, so I guess I can only blame myself. But yeah, so this is my avocado tree. I started it this year. This is the first seed I propagated and left it in some water and waited until it got roots, then put it in the pot, and it wasn't doing anything for a while, so I got worried. But then it did this, and I was like, you know what? Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. So next up we have not 1, but 2. If you look in here, tomatoes. Technically, I think that's like 4 different plants because I ended up cutting a bunch of them off and then realizing they had flowers. If you look really closely, you can see that this has roots and that I'm probably gonna have to replant this soon. So, yay me! But yeah, I just stuck them in some water and stuck them out here and because they had flowers on them, and yeah. I'm not gonna go over the other plants. What I want to say, there are impatiens and petunias over here. They are not mine. They are my roommate and her partner. So the other thing I've had to show you is, yes, there are mustard greens growing in another pot. I don't want to talk about it. I was trying new things and I was gonna see what did better, and yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Next up is our spearmint. So this is actually 1 plant, 2 plant, a self-watering pot, and there's old cypress vine that I was tearing down today, that I'm not done tearing down. But yeah, I don't know, I did not know mint grew like this. I have more mint around it, but basically this spearmint I propagated it I've had this spearmint for at least like 2 or 3 years now, and it's the 1 plant that moves with me, and it is so easy to grow. Like, stick it in a pot, water it, give it some sun, let it kind of do whatever it wants, and yeah, it's literally everywhere. This is not a complaint, it's just an observation. So in these pots, which they're not taking up a lot of water right now, as you can tell. I also have, let's see if I can slide it over here and get a good angle on it. Ooh, it's such a big pot. I will get a better image of that. I'll move it over in a second. But these are lemon trees that I am growing from seed. As you can see, I probably put too many in there. There's like 3 in here, and I'm like, whoops. And there's like another one in here. I'm like, I really did not mean to do that. But yes, I have multiple lemon trees. Let me see if I can slide this over so you can see it. And there is not 1, but 2, 3, 4. I need to stop putting so many lemon seeds in the same pot. But yes, and my hair is like in the way. That's the shadow. But yeah, I have lemon trees growing out here. This is my first year trying to grow them. I gave some to my mom, and we're gonna see how they do. So I'm super excited to see like what comes of them and if any of them stay. I'm gonna have to move them inside. I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet. I have a portable greenhouse, but we're just gonna figure that out when we get there. Next up, we have my orange mint. When I bought her, she had a she was a very dark purple in color, and she's got flowers right now. I'm gonna zoom in. So these are the little blooms on my orange mint, but she is thriving. I tell you, like, so pretty, so gorgeous. Like, look at those tiny little blooms. They're so cute. But yeah. Smells just like citrus, taste amazing, especially if you're going for a mojito vibe. But she is a viney thing, and so I've had to like put another plant stand so that she'll keep vining, but not on the ground so the cats will try to eat her. So yeah. So next up we have rosemary. You can see there's a lot of dead leaves on here. I need to trim her up. She's probably not getting enough sunlight, so she's very unhappy with me right now. So we're kind of just leaving her alone to see how she does. But yeah, I do have rosemary out here. She's been with me since last year, so I'm really going to be upset with myself if I kill her. So we're going to see how she does. I pluck off some of her leaves sometimes. I still cook with it and clean everything properly before I cook, but there's bugs everywhere. I'm just interested to see how this goes. So I have 2 avocado seeds, and then there is another lemon tree. So yeah, when I tell you like I'm always propagating something, I'm dead serious. There's also collard greens and more watering tree propagating in the house, so not kidding. And I have a bunch of seeds that are going everywhere. So, you know, if you need some seeds, if you need some propagations, I got you. So next up we have the squash. This is yellow squash. I planted 6 seeds in here. As you can tell, it ended up molding a little bit. I think I was putting too much water, and so a lot of it died, and so I cut that back recently, and I'm trying to see if it will do a little bit better. I've cut off all the moldy leaves and like all that stuff, so we're just going to give it some time, see how it does. This might be a fail, but I have so many more squash seeds, and literally I had 6 and they like flourished in like a month or 2, so we'll just try again if that's the case, and I'm kind of stoked to see how that works out. So yeah, yellow squash, potentially a fail this time, but we'll give it a little more time and then we'll see. Peanut says hi in the background. And last but certainly not least is my mint mojito. This is the original mint for mojito. I don't know what else to tell you. It is delicious, and I pretty much bought it for mojitos. That's why I have so much mint in the house. Mojito is my favorite drink. Therefore, I have an abundance of mint on the porch, on the balcony. I don't know what else to explain to you, but yeah. Again, mint is super easy to grow. It's vining everywhere. It probably needs a bigger pot. Get you some herbs. At the end of the day, if you're like, I'm not a plant person, I'll kill this, get you some herbs. A lot of them are so hardy.